Like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who could bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GTV Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop until you get your mouth off LDBC. We are the underground out the job. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yup, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got them banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
All right, man. Y'all press 1 if y'all can hear me in the chat. Salute to everybody. Got a mic check real quick. 1 2 1 2. Press 1 if y'all can hear me. Salute to everybody that have been tapping in. Everybody that have been supporting my channel, showing love, man. Pulling up, doing all the things y'all have been doing. I salute to all of y'all, man. I appreciate all of y'all. I love all of y'all, man. You know, it's hard to be in my position and to stand on business. You understand what I'm saying? There's so many forces that go against you that don't want you to stand on business. They want you to be with the go along, get along. You understand what I'm saying? And I just don't rock like that. I wasn't raised like that. You understand? I was raised a different way, man. I'm cut from a different cloth, man. You understand? And you know, I want to call out all this stuff, you know, and I salute to everybody that's around here, man, that support my channel, show love to what we do, man. So I appreciate everybody who stayed rocking with me 10 toes. You know, I've seen people in the comment section of the other video, you know, some people talking greasy and stuff like that. Some people just saying little things like, oh, man, you know, this, that, and the third. But, I mean, it is what it is, man. So it shall be written. So it shall be done. You understand what I'm saying? And, you know, again, Sean Diddy Combs will have his day in court. He will have his day to explain all of these things. But right now, what we're doing is we're going over everything. Now, I had somebody come in here and say I was lying in the last video about the allegations with the minors. And I told you guys this. I don't never have no reason to lie. And I'm going to address that first. First of all, sir, just because the lamestream media don't get it right and Ticket and the other homies is on it before them, that's their fault. That's their fault. See, they want to ignore this right here. They want to ignore this. But see, your boy Ticket, I'm not fitting to ignore this right here. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's called self-accountability. How in the hell can you call somebody else accountable when you're not accountable for yourself and your own? How can you call out somebody else when you cannot take care and keep in check your own? You understand what I'm saying? Now, let's get to the funk, because I got a big stream for y'all. It's not going to be that long, but it's going to be big information, right? And we're going to come back to this on your screen right here, right? And I'm just going to keep that $100 right there. Now, and again, I salute everybody that's tapped in, man. Y'all already know what it is. Salute to all of you guys that's in the building. Again, hold on one second. Hold on. All right, y'all. So let me let y'all know. Let me let you go over some information with you guys that have come out now. First of all, let's start with Terrence Howard, man. Apparently, Terrence Howard, man, has had enough of the foolishness. Now, you know, a lot of people have some stuff to say about Terrence Howard, talk slick about Terrence Howard. This is what happens when you come out and you stand on business. You understand what I'm saying? People will come against you. Forces will come against you. People will call you a liar. People will say you're a captain. People that don't know you will try to degrade you and tear you down. You understand what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You got to stand strong within your own beliefs and yourself. Terrence Howard, according to TMZ, is now planning to expose the Hollywood heavyweights in a new podcast. He's planning to expose this stuff in Hollywood in a brand new podcast. And man, this is not spelling good work for these people in Hollywood if this is true. And Terrence Howard is coming for the smoke because they're saying if Terrence Howard is going to do this podcast and come out and expose Hollywood in this podcast, I'm going to read this article out of TMZ. It says Terrence Howard says that his new podcast won't pull any punches because he plans to take on big time Hollywood media companies, something he describes as a studio nightmare in every actor's wet dream. The veteran actor told TMZ he recently started recording a new podcast that pulls back the curtain on the entertainment industry and intends to release it to the public in the near future. Terrence Howard will speak on the powerful figures behind the scenes in Hollywood. Specifically, he tells us he's going to address his ongoing battle with CAA, claiming a talent agency asked him to accept a lower salary while he worked on Empire. He also says he has plenty to say about the big wigs over at Disney and at Fox. He'll also dish out about his time on the set of Empire, along with what he calls business betrayals, shady transactions, and things he's endured during his long career in Tinseltown. Though through it all, Terrence Howard hopes to show his listeners how the industry really operates. Terrence promises he's going to be as candid as he was during his recent PBD podcast, where he made some jaw-dropping comments about Sean Diddy Combs. But he says he doesn't plan to drag celebrities. He just wants to speak power, truth to power. He says he thinks everyone in showbiz is terrified of the powers that be in Hollywood, studio executives, powerful agents, and the like. But Terrence Howard says he doesn't feel that fear because he's got nothing to lose. Terrence Howard is ready to tell his story, no matter who it upsets, according to the reports coming out of TMZ today. And this is going to be explosive because if anybody challenges Terrence Howard, I think he's willing to go all the way. I think Lucius is willing to turn up and turn out and put on for his city, if you know what I mean, if you can dig that, sucker. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a bit of other information that we want to get to y'all, but let me say it about this first with Terrence Howard, man. I'm going to tell y'all something, man. I like Terrence Howard, man. And, somebody has to speak out against this demonic, uh, you know, situations and powers that are out here. Somebody has to stand on business and want to speak the truth, man. And listen, when you take that step and you want to speak the truth and stand on business, the devil will come against you at all costs. Oh, them demons will stand up and fight against you. Trust and believe. You have to be strong and you have to have a will stronger than their desire and their will to prevent you from saying what you say or tearing you down. And I'm telling you something, there are some real powerful things that's going on out here. People that want to withhold the truth. You understand what I'm saying? But I was always, born and taught that the truth is going to do two things. It's going to keep you, set you free, and it's going to keep you free. All right? And that's the one thing that you can always bet on with the truth. And that's why I always believe in that. And I always believe that people should always, stand up on that first. You know what I'm saying? It's funny how people say, oh, man, well, why don't they ever cook these white guys? You guys don't watch those videos because we do videos about that all the time on both of our channels. And you guys don't want to watch those videos. And then you guys, here's the thing what a lot of these dudes do, a lot of these ladies do. They go watch all this ratchet black stuff on YouTube where they just talking about a whole bunch of ratchet stuff. They're all addicted to that. But they're not addicted to cleaning this foolishness up. They're not addicted, you understand what I'm saying, to helping people walk on the right path and get their lives together and get past the foolishness and not have to be on a casting couch in order to get opportunities. They're not with that. They're not for that. They for the foolishness. They for the BS. They for the junk. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Now, let me get to this situation with y'all boy, Puff Daddy, or should I say P. Diddy, or should I say Sean Diddy Combs? Because his situation is uglier than a masterpiece sneaker. Now, today, like I told you guys, and shout out to my boy over there, Diddy Docket. Like I told you guys, this information was released by Diddy's lawyers. Let me repeat myself again. Because I had a clown and I wanted to screenshot him, but I don't want to give him that much publicity. He gonna come at me talking about something. Hey man, this is clickbait. You're lying. I haven't seen this reported anywhere. Yeah, because them fools don't do what we do. They don't read paperwork, dog. If you read the paperwork, it's right there in front of you. I already told you. The information is up. There have been over 25 filings in this Diddy case in the last 24 hours. This thing is getting explosive. They have a hearing tomorrow. There's a hearing tomorrow for Diddy where all of this stuff is going down now. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to tell y'all what's going on, because it's getting real ugly now. And it's going to get super ugly, if you know what I mean. Super ugly it's going to get. Now, what are you talking about, Ticket? I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. Now, to the person who says Diddy's getting off, yeah, you're right. He getting off the bunk he is in the jail, and he taking his ass to a max penitentiary. You damn right. That's the only thing he getting off. You better believe that, boy. Because what I'm finna show you, sir, Diddy's lawyers, you guys, and let me explain to y'all what's going on before I show y'all the paperwork, because some people don't understand the paperwork. What's going on is this. Is exactly what I told y'all what was happening. The government is slow leaking their information on Diddy. In my opinion, the feds and the government, and I told you guys this from the start, when everybody was like, oh man, they ain't really got no evidence, man. I don't know what to do. I said, man, know your role and shut your mouth, like the great ones say. Know your role and shut your mouth. You should have already read behind the lines. This is how I know people ain't intelligent. They have no common sense. When they made such a big deal about Diddy and alleged witness tampering, and when they showed evidence that they said Diddy had talked to witnesses in court, and that's a big reason why he didn't get bailed too. $50 million bail rejected because concerns over witness safety, testimony, and all these other things. I told y'all this. Y'all should have paid attention to that, but you didn't. And I did. And I told y'all, this is going to make the government slow cook their things against Diddy, meaning Diddy asked for a speedy trial, right? So I personally think the government was just slow leaking information as they wanted to get out because they did not want their stuff to be tampered with. I think the government feels like they're dealing with a real serious situation here, as far as they feel like Diddy is that serious of a threat to where witnesses can be tampered with, bought off, paid for, whatever, threatened, whatever. That's how they feel. I'm not saying that's how I feel. I'm telling you how the government feel. So what they, and I told you guys, what I thought the government was going to do was leak out all their information, and then towards the end, hit this dude with the goddamn swammer, slammer, thank you, mama. Boom. And that's exactly what happened. And now Diddy's lawyers are out here. Diddy don't hire new lawyers, and now it all makes sense. Now we know why, in my opinion, Anthony Rico quit and said under no circumstances. Remember, everybody talking, oh, this is racist, what they doing to Diddy? His black lawyer quit, said under no circumstances can I represent this guy. None. I've done the best of my ability. That's the black lawyer got up and left. Now let's talk about this, right? And again, that's attorney-client privilege, so we'll never know the true reason. We can only speculate on why he left. But this is why I'm speculating why he left. But let me say this to y'all. This thing is bad, y'all. Diddy's lawyers, you remember all that new evidence I told y'all? They've been getting hit with more new evidence late in the ball game. Diddy's lawyers have asked for a 2-month delay on this case. But the government, the feds are saying, hell no. We don't want to give him a 2-month delay because of the potential repercussions of what can happen if Diddy learns our strategy and what we're doing to him or what we're trying to do to him, which I told you guys that the government was going to hold him. They smart as hell. They not stupid. It's these people that's walking around on social media that's stupid. They're the ones that's running around. I don't really know what Diddy's being charged with. I don't really see anything. The feds keep hitting this man with superseding indictments and walking this man down. And they told y'all in the writings that not only that, they're going off to try to use these other loopholes in the law to crush Diddy. Now, the feds told you guys in another post that I put on this channel that they wanted to do the same thing they did to Harvey Weinstein, which is, in Harvey Weinstein's case, they used people with evidence who they were not charging against Harvey Weinstein in that case. But they used those people with their evidence in their testimony in court to display that the charges that they were hitting Diddy with were more than likely true because this is what happened with these people. So the government has now come forward with multiple witnesses, victims, multiple victims. And I told y'all, most of those people have given proffer agreements, meaning some of these people were down with the play. They were in this bad area, but they have given proffer agreements, meaning that the government can't come back and look for charges against them in exchange for their testimony in this situation. So they've given proffer agreements and evidence against Diddy, which I told you dummies they was going to do, but y'all didn't want to listen to me. But then it just happened exactly the way I said it was going to happen. So now you have a whole slew of people who the government ain't even put most of these people in the case. Let me explain this again. The government basically are saying they got a whole rack of victims, people who are victims, who came forward with evidence against Sean Diddy Combs that they're not even charging Diddy with, but they're going to use their evidence and testimony in court, even though these people aren't being used as victims in this case, to corroborate the victims they are charging Diddy against. Stories. They did it to Harvey Weinstein. They did it to Harvey Weinstein. Diddy's lawyer. Oh, now that part right there is destruction, because now comes in all those other stories. Remember, all these people were demonizing Tyrone Blackburn, the lawyer, saying, oh, he's bringing forth phony lawsuits. Well, guess what? The feds don't believe it. The feds are saying, hey, man, because Tyrone Blackburn's name was mentioned in the Fed paperwork by Diddy's lawyers, and Diddy's lawyers are trying to discredit Tyrone Blackburn in the Fed case, not in the civil case, in the Fed case, which lets y'all know that some of these lawyers y'all been saying is jive turkeys. They ain't really that jive, because they must have had enough evidence that the feds are going to use that in court. Look at the writings. These people are not reading the filings. It has been 25 filings in the last 24 hours in this case. It's at 258 right now, filings. And going through and reading them all, some of them are 20 pages. Some of them are 4 pages. Some of them are 8 pages. Some of them are 10 pages. I got to go through and read the rest of them tonight and tomorrow. All of these pages. But today, information was leaked. And this was the most devastating of them all. And I showed y'all this because now I'm going to show y'all the response. So for you guys who didn't see what happened, you're going to see what happened, and you're going to see the government's response. And the government, they told you something. They spilled all the beans today in the paperwork. The devil is in the details. And I'm going to show you. right now. So this is the letter that Diddy's lawyers wrote to the judge right here. And you can see that a lot of these things are, hold on, excuse me, that's not right. This is the letter that Diddy's lawyers wrote to the judge. And you can see a lot of those things are redacted at the bottom part. They're X'd out. A lot of the files that have been filed, some of them have been filed under secrecy, meaning that you can't see anything that's on those files. I saw at least 6 or 7 files, I believe, maybe 5, 6, that were completely private, confidential. So we won't even know about that until court. That's how devastating the information is or revealing it is on those files. But let me say this, and I'm going to break this down for everybody so y'all can understand what the hell is going on. So the feds, before I read this paperwork, let me explain this in layman's terms so everybody can understand. When Diddy was getting hit with all these superseding indictments, the things people didn't know is that there were even more victims. Now there are at least 7 victims that are being charged in the Diddy indictment. 7. And the feds are still investigating. Now, from these 7 victims, it seems as if 2 of these 7 victims, which one of them we know is Cassie Ventura, but 2 of those 7 victims are minors, allegedly, if you look at the paperwork from Diddy's lawyers. And I told you this earlier today. And Diddy's lawyers, they're basically saying that a lot of this information, and I'm going to explain to y'all before I read the paperwork so you understand. Diddy's lawyers, and remember, Diddy has just went and hired Brian Steele, Young Thug's attorney. He added him. Diddy's swinging for the fences. He's got nothing left. He's looking for a black female lawyer now. He's desperate. But they want all of this new evidence thrown out because Diddy's lawyers said that they feel like the feds were playing dirty, the government, and pretending as if they didn't know all this information and then coming and hitting them with this information at the 11th hour. So Diddy's lawyers want all of this evidence thrown out of court. Unsubmissible. And I'm going to show you guys right here. Because today in the paperwork, not the government, Diddy's lawyer revealed in the writing this. And I'm going to show you guys what that whole thing says. And then I'm going to show you what the government said in response to Diddy and his team wanting to delay the trial for 2 months now. And all of these things. It has gotten crazy. Now, let's go back to this. To be filed under seal. Dear Judge Submaranian, on behalf of Sean Combs, the defense submits this letter in advance of tomorrow, April the 18th conference. They got a court hearing tomorrow. And in further support of this motion to exclude, they want to withhold that evidence. This is what it means that the government has brought forward. The government is trying to use Rule 413 and 404B, which means that they can bring people who have nothing to do with this case but have allegations and evidence against Diddy and present it in court to basically corroborate the victims they do have and show a pattern. Think now. Diddy's lawyers want all that thrown out. Diddy's lawyers say on behalf of Sean Combs, the defense submits this letter in advance of April 18th conference and in further support of his motion to exclude the government's Rule 413 and 404B evidence. Remember, everybody said, oh, they don't have evidence. Diddy's lawyers are saying they have evidence. It's right there in the paperwork. This is Diddy's lawyers writing this. This how y'all know that Bookman and these people know what the hell they talking about. See document 212. At the April 14th conference, which the one that was the court hearing earlier this week, the government, they said they're alleging, misled the court as to the timing of his interviews with the 4 additional alleged victims. 4 additional victims. Remember, Diddy had 3 victims at first. Now it's 4 additional ones. It's 7 total. Remember I told y'all they was going to slow walk this boy? Remember I told y'all they was going to slow cook this dude and walk it dry? When everybody said, oh, they don't have anything. They don't have any evidence. No. I told you what the government was going to do. You should have listened when he went to the bail hearing. They rejected a man on a $50 million bail. If you ask me why they rejected Diddy, them people probably came forward with evidence and said, look, not only am I in fear of my life, but they probably showed evidence that because they said that they showed that he had contacted the one girl, Big Nose, 50 sometimes. So I told you guys, in my opinion, the government was going to slow walk this dude. They were going to try to hold things back as far as possible until the case came up so that they could try to allegedly stop him from witness tampering. That way, they can actually get their people in the trial and not worry about these people backing out, being afraid, being threatened, all this other stuff. That's why I told y'all this, man. But these people ain't got no brains on YouTube. No, a lot of them do have brains. The problem is they down with the devil shit. That's facts. At the April 14th press conference, the government, this is Diddy's lawyers saying, the government, we in the first paragraph, misled the court. This is what Diddy's lawyers are saying as to the timing of his interviews with the 4 additional alleged victims described in his March 10th, 2025 and March 26th, 2025 Enterprise letter agenda. Remember all these dudes laughing at me? Oh, Ticket, where's the letter at? I thought you said the Enterprise letter was coming out. It did come out, Janet Jackass. It came out under seal. And it went straight to Diddy's lawyers. Let's keep reading. The defense writes to correct the record. Second paragraph. As the defense noted in its reply brief, it is clear from the 3,500 material that the government has known about these alleged victims for months and months. Didn't I tell y'all this? So Diddy's lawyers is saying, hey, man, the government's playing dirty. Didn't I tell y'all I thought the government was going to do this with Diddy? Right? Because they didn't trust him. I told y'all I thought that was going to happen. This is what I told y'all. I told y'all I thought this was going to happen. But let's keep going. It says, as the defense noted in its reply brief, it is clear from the 3,500 material that the government has known about these alleged victims for months and months. Remember when all these clowns said they didn't have no evidence? They ain't got no evidence. They ain't got nothing. Know your role and shut your mouth, says the final boss. In some cases, over a year. So Diddy's lawyers are saying, hey, man, the government knew about this stuff over a year. They didn't present it to the end, man. What's up, man? This is BS. That's basically what Diddy's lawyers are saying. But let's keep going. Document 216 at 3. At the April 14th conference, the government stated that at the time its enterprise letter was due on February the 1st, 2025, it was not prepared to say that this evidence would be a part of its direct case in proving up the racketeering enterprise and the racketeering conspiracy. 414-25 TR 26. It further represented it was aware at least of some of the alleged victims, but that it didn't know how deep it had gone in its interviews with these particular victims. ID. As an example, the government cited alleged victim number 5, stating the 3500 material would reveal that the particular victim was interviewed multiple times in 2025. I believe much closer to the date of the revision of our enterprise letter, IDTR 29, Diddy's lawyer says. Now, go down to the next paragraph or the next one line. It says the government representations were false, is what Diddy's lawyers are accusing. It says, read this, y'all. The 3,500 materials make clear that the government, and they blacked it all out. They redacted all of that. They blacked it all out so you couldn't see it. That's how confidential that information is right now. And then it keeps going. It says, intentionally chose not to include these individuals in its enterprise letter and only changed its position after realizing the weakness in Rule 413-404B arguments. We take each alleged victim in turn. Notice it doesn't tell y'all that. Now, look how it writes it now. Victim 5, the bottom of your screen. Then it's blacked out. Then it says the 3,500 material reveals, and it's all blacked out. Now watch this, y'all. Next page. It's all blacked out. But read this, y'all. It's all blacked out. It went right to victim 5. It blacked it all out. And then it goes to the end of the paragraph, the first paragraph, and it says, thus, nothing has changed since January the 31st, 2025. The government's contrary representation to the court were false, is what Diddy's lawyers are saying. Read number 2, y'all. What does the number 2 say? Doesn't just say victim. Diddy's lawyers, I don't know if they purposely did this or this was an accident. It just didn't get redacted. But read what that says right there. What is that word in front of victim? Number 2. Not victim number 2. It says MINOR, victim number 2. So this would make you believe that somewhere in this report that they hadn't talked about in this one, there's a MINOR victim number 1 out of those 7 victims. The 3 originally and the 4 that was added on. But wait, there's more. This is Diddy lawyers writing this. Then it says victim number 7. It completely marks out victim number 7. Victim number 6 doesn't say anything about the MINO blank. So it skipped out other victims in this writing. So it makes you think, is there one other victim that is MINOR victim number 1? Then it says at the bottom, the government was clearly, this is Diddy lawyers, the government was clearly in a position. Now think about this. They are heated. Diddy's lawyers are heated about this. Now think about this now. TMZ going to report this after I report it. They're going to report this tomorrow. Watch. They're going to come report this like they came on. This is the Diddy doc who found this. They're going to come on and report this like they found it first. They did. They ain't on their job. Look at the bottom. It says, this is Diddy's lawyers now. The government was clearly in a position to include every one of these 4 alleged victims in the February 1st, 2025 enterprise letter had it truly believed the evidence was relevant to its direct case. So they're trying to say, hey, they didn't think the evidence was relevant to the direct case. It says, but it didn't. The reason it failed to do so is not because it was quote unquote not prepared, right? To say that this evidence would be a part of his direct case, 41425 TR 26, but rather because of pure gamesmanship and or its own decisions not to follow up with these witnesses. The defense should not be forced to defend against these late-breaking allegations on the eve of the trial when the government is at fault. For these and the additional reasons outlined in Mr. Combs' motion, the court should exclude the evidence. What does that mean, Ticket? That means that Diddy's lawyers want all of these people, these 4 victims that they say they didn't even know about, that they outlined in this letter, they want them out. It makes me think now, was one of the original first 3 victims a minor? Because this says victim number 2. So was number 1 and the original first 3, but the government didn't state it as far as specific, or it was redacted in the original complaint? Think about it now. Think about it now. So now, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm be very honest with y'all. I think the government did it because I think the government held this information until late because I believe the government wanted gamesmanship over Diddy. I believe the government wanted to hit this dude with the whammer at the end, to where it was just no coming back. This is why Diddy's lawyers are saying right here in this last line that they want all this evidence thrown out. Read it again. Read it again. It says, but rather because of pure gamemanship or its own decisions not to follow up with these witnesses, the defense should not be forced to defend against these late-breaking allegations on the eve of the trial. They don't want to have to defend against this. So they're basically saying, hey, look, because they bought this at the last minute, we feel like you should throw it out. Now, something else happened. Something else happened. Something else happened. Oh, it's finna get ugly, y'all. It's about to get ugly. This happened. The government clapped back for its mental anguish, is what the government did. And the government went hard body on Diddy. And this is what the government said in response to Diddy's lawyers wanting to throw out all the new evidence that they presented in this case. Dear Judge Shamranian, this is the government now. This is the feds that's talking. The government respectfully submits this letter in opposition to the defendant, meaning Diddy's, application, which is replete with mischaracterizations. And you guys smash the like button and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit that like button. Hit that like button. There are MINORSs in this case. Ooh, it's fitting to get ugly. It's fitting to get ugly. It says to adjourn the May 5th, 2025 trial date, document number 233. The defendants proffered basis for seeking such adjournment is allowing Mr. Combs. Think about now. This is what the government is saying. Listen to what they're saying now. Just why I told y'all the government was playing. They had this. They thought they said, look, we're gonna slow walk this dude. He want a fast trial. Okay, we're gonna slow walk him. And at the end, just when he think we ain't got nothing, we fitting it. Boom! Hit his ass with the sonic boom. And that's exactly what happened. This right here, to be hit with this, MINOR victim number 2, that has gotta be, and you gotta fight those allegations too. And you don't know what evidence come with that. Man, no wonder they want it all thrown out of court. It says that to adjourn the May the 5th, 2025 trial date, document number 233, the defendant, Diddy's, proffered basis for seeking such adjournment is allowing Mr. Combs the necessary time to prepare his defense of the third superseding indictment and resolve victim 4's evidentiary issue. Obviously, victim number 4 was redacted in that last paper I showed y'all. They're saying that Diddy's lawyers want time. They want 2 months so that they can find a way to go against this evidence for victim number 4 that we don't even know about because it was marked out. It says, as previewed during the conference on April the 14th, 2025, the defendant has tested out various bases for an adjournment request over the past week, including purportedly speedy trial concerns and newly asserted discovery issues. It says these shifting explanations denote nothing more than gamesmanship. It says, likewise, the latest iteration of the defendant's evolving request is unsupported by any legal authority and should be rejected outright. An adjournment of any length should be denied. The government does not want Diddy to be able to have a trial delay because the government is saying that no, he need to face these charges he hit with. A, thank you, brother. A third superseding indictment provides no basis to adjourn the trial date. Contrary to the defendant's letter, the third superseding indictment adding substantive sex trafficking count for victim 2. I repeat myself again, y'all. It says, contrary to the defendant's letter, the third superseding indictment adding a substantive sex trafficking count for victim number 2 is not substantially new conduct, and it provides no basis for adjournment. As early as the defendant's initial bail arguments, during which the government quoted from victim 2's message to the defendant, and it's blacked out, it says the government has consistently described victim number 2 as a victim of sex trafficking. Additionally, the government search warrant applications, all of which were included in its first production of discovery and is blacked out, the first superseding indictment returned by the grand jury on January the 30th, 2025 also explicitly alleged the superseding indictment returned by the grand jury on January the 30th, 2025 also explicitly alleged the defendant's sex trafficking of victim number 2 as racketeering activity. So they charged him under the racketeering act with victim number 2 too, it seems. Then it goes on, y'all. It says, when the government learned for the first time on March the 24th, 2025, about the blank and it's blacked out. The government acted swiftly to present this limited new evidence to the grand jury, which returned the S3 indictment, superseding 3 indictment, on April the 4th, 2025. Courts in this district routinely deny adjournment requests in such circumstances, right? And then it gives you the example, right? It says basically denying the trial adjournment when a defendant was on notice of additional charges in the superseding indictment for a month before the superseding indictment was returned, and the defendant had 32 days of filing of the superseding indictment to prepare for the trial, right? It says denying requests for the continuance when the government obtained a superseding indictment, expanding the time period of a drug conspiracy charge and adding an additional transaction 26 days before the trial, right? So it just gives you an example in support of what the government wants, which is to continue the case. Now let's go to the second paragraph, right? It says Diddy is grasping at straws. Read this now, y'all. Y'all smash the like button as y'all come in here. Grasping at straws. The defendant, Diddy's claim that an adjournment is required because discovery is incomplete is as disingenuous as it is weak. It says on March 24th, 2025, victim number 2 disclosed to the government in sum and substance that, and that's all blacked out right there. It says the government apprised the defense of this new evidence contemporaneously by disclosing notes of victim 2 interview the next day and informing the defendant that it anticipated producing additional related Rule 16 discovery. That means they presented more evidence. Despite these timely productions, and despite representing to the court that there was nothing to raise regarding victim 2 discovery following conferrals with the government, right? The defendant now argues that the additional productions require adjournment. The deficient discovery the defendant cites, however, consisted of one, approximately 236 media files. Read this now. This is the part where y'all need to read this. This is explosive. Now read this part right here. These niggas out here capping for Diddy, nigga. Now read this right here. Victim number 2, discovery following conferrals. Now listen to this now. Listen to this now. Right? Following conferrals with the government. The defendant now argues, Diddy now argues that the additional productions require adjournment. Now read this next line. This is the ether blow right here. The deficient discovery that the defendant Diddy cites, however, consisted of. So Diddy said, "Oh, this was a deficient discovery," saying that they didn't have enough. They said, "No, that's a lie. The discovery we gave you had approximately 236 media files of photographs and videos produced on March the 28th, 2025, and 2, approximately 22 photographs, 22 pictures of, and they blacked it out. They said they all gave this to Diddy. 5 of which the government received on April the 14th, 2025. They say they still receiving evidence on Diddy to this day. It says the remainder of which the government received on April the 15th, 2025, and all of which were produced to the defendant on April the 15th, 2025, with accompanying cover emails making it clear when the government came into possession of the photographs, it is far-fetched to suggest that the government is still producing discovery. This is extremely limited additional discovery related to the S3 indictment, third superseding indictment, provides no basis for an adjournment of trial date, and the defendant cites no law suggesting otherwise. Read the bottom. It says the media files were, and is blacked out, which the government searched pursuant to a warrant. The government's review of the iCloud account, they got Diddy's iCloud, y'all. They got his goddamn on iCloud, man. The government's review of the iCloud account was ongoing on March the 24th, 2025, when victim number 2 disclosed blank. The government subsequently concluded its review of this account and confirmed the same to the defendant. The media files produced to the defendant on March 28th, 2025, blank out prior to victim 2's disclosure on March 24th, 2025, that these media files blank, 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 and were not previously identified and produced to the defendant. They sent this nigga, let me explain this to y'all. They sent Diddy 236 media files of photos and videos of evidence of victim 2 alone. Approximately 22 of them was photographs. The others were videos. These niggas out here capping for Diddy. They out here capping for Diddy. It goes on. It goes on. Pull out the contract. Turn to page 3. It says, adjournment request denied when the defendant had not explained why additional discovery cannot be reviewed in the remaining weeks before the scheduled start of a trial. B, so everybody who doesn't understand what's going on, basically, the feds hit Diddy with all this new evidence at the last minute. They said, hey, nigga, take all this. Since you said we ain't got nothing, take all this evidence right here. We're going to give you these 236 photos and videos of evidence against you. Now, what you going to say about this shit? Diddy's lawyers are saying, this evidence should be thrown out. They gave this, they was doing gamemanship. They should throw this evidence out. They shouldn't be able to use this evidence in court. That's what Diddy's lawyers are saying. Diddy's lawyers want this evidence eliminated from court because they're saying, they gave it to us at the last minute. They didn't represent it right. They gave it to us at the last minute. That's what Diddy's lawyers are crying about. I thought these capping ass, and I told you again, I knew they had them. I knew what they was going to do. I knew how they was going to play this. Read it. It said, B, the defendant's request for victim 4's documents provides no basis to adjourn the trial date. The defendant, Diddy, other proffered basis for an adjournment, the purported evidentiary issue related to communications in victim 4's possession, was raised to the government for the first time on April the 13th, 2025, and then to the court on April the 14th, 2025. This pretextual complaint also provides no support for Diddy's request, for reasons that the government will set forth in the full related to the defendant's application for Rule 17C subpoena. The defendant's proposed Rule 17C subpoena for victim number 4 communications is exactly the type of general fishing expedition that is specifically prohibited. United States versus Nixon, 418 U.S. 68370, 1974. A broad improper request, I'm in the third paragraph, y'all. A broad improper request for documents to which the defendant is not entitled cannot form the basis to adjourn trial. And courts in this district have denied such requests under similar circumstances. Right? And they give all the examples. Then it goes on to say, at the end of the paragraph, and because the defendant is not entitled to the documents, there is no evidentiary issue regarding victim 4 to speak of. In any event, the government remains willing to confer with the defense counsel about more limited, legally supported requests. C, the victims oppose to the adjournment of the trial date. This is major, y'all. Y'all smash the like button. All the victims in the case against Diddy, they don't want this trial to be delayed. They want to get into court now against this dude. They don't want to wait no more. And I'm telling you why all these victims don't want to wait no more. They don't want to have their lives be exposed. Every day that goes by, they feel like they may have to, they might not be here no more. So they want to get into court, testify, and try to get this dude convicted so that they can feel safe. This is what they're saying right here at C at the bottom. So it said the victims opposed to adjournment of the trial date. The victims do not want this trial delayed. They want this trial now. It says, finally, while the government is continuing to reach out to victims. So they're not even finished reaching out to victims. The government is still investigating this nigga. It says, while the government is continuing to reach out to victims, at least 3 victims oppose the defendant's request for adjournment of the trial date and may separately submit objections to the court. These victims have statutory right under the Crime Victims' Right Act to proceedings free from unreasonable delay and to be treated with the fairness and with the respect. The defendant Diddy's adjournment request violates these rights. It says, in particular, the defendants requested 2 months adjournment of the trial date and refusal to consider a longer adjournment. And it goes on, y'all. Blacked out. And then it says, the government is in receipt of the court's endorsement and will proceed to make disclosures on the current schedule, docket number 235. It says, however, should the court adjourn the trial date by any period of time, the government will seek to claw back all the material. So it says that if the court delays this case, and y'all, we should have well over 1,500 likes. Smash the like button, y'all. This is free information I'm giving y'all, and I'm giving y'all my time. My dinner's over here getting cold because I'm cooking for y'all. It says, so they're saying if they delay the case, the government wants all that evidence back until the trial. It says that, however, should the court adjourn the trial date by any period of time, be it 2 weeks or 2 months, it says that the government will seek to claw back all material provided to the defense pending an amended scheduling order, given that the government will be severely prejudiced by the defense's maintaining access to its most sensitive information, revealing its trial strategy for longer than initially anticipated. There you go right there. So I told you guys, they saying that the trial gets delayed, they want all the evidence back because Diddy will know their trial strategy. And I told you what their strategy was. Their strategy was to walk Diddy down. But there's something else, y'all. There's one more. There's one more. And this one right here was the last one, most recent one filed. And this one is explosive as well, as you see it right there in front of y'all's face. So the government just filed this last. And I will let y'all go after this. Dear Judge Submaranian, the government respectfully submits this letter in response to Diddy's letter dated April 15, 2025, in further support of his motion to preclude the testimony of blank, the non-statutory victims. That means all the victims I told y'all that's not even in this case, but are under Rule 413 404B, right? Meaning that they have evidence of all these other people. Let me explain this to y'all. So they got 7 victims, right, who are testifying against Diddy in court. He's being charged against 7 victims, but they got a whole slew of other victims they haven't even charged Diddy with. They're just going to use their testimony, and the evidence they have to prove that Diddy allegedly did these things in court to corroborate the 7 victims they have. That is damning and devastating for Diddy. Smash a like. We should have over 1,000 likes easy in this chat. There ain't no damn way we ain't got over 1,000 likes. Now read this right here, y'all. It goes on to say, right? So it says that the government respectfully submits a letter in Diddy's in response to Diddy's letter dated April 15, 2025, in further support of his motion to preclude the testimony of blank is blacked out the non-statutory victims under the Federal Rules Evidence 413 and 404B Act. It says, in Diddy's letter, the defendant Diddy accuses the government of making misrepresentations about the timing of its investigation to the court during the conference on April 14, 2025. That accusation is misplaced for the reasons detailed below. And in any event, there is no basis to conclude that notice of additional enterprise proof provided more than 1 month before the trial warrants preclusion. So they're saying, look, any evidence that we present a month before the trial, he still don't get a delay on the trial. We just showing you more evidence. It goes on to say in second paragraph, it says the government takes its duty of candor very seriously, and for precisely that reason, caveated, caveated, right, its statements during the April 14th, 2025 conference about when it became aware of the evidence relating to the non-statutory victims, meaning the victims that's not being charged in the case, but it's going to testify and bring their evidence. For similar reasons, the government did not purport to provide specific dates about its investigative steps. Indeed, when asked whether the government was aware of all of these incidents prior to the initial enterprise letter, the government responded, "I believe we were aware at least of some of them. I don't know how. I would really want to check, Your Honor. I don't know how thoroughly we had investigated them. I can't speak specifically to how developed the facts were at the point where we sent over our initial enterprise letter. See April 14, 2025, TR 26 and 27. In fact, this is the last paragraph. The defense's letter confirms the government was correct that one was aware of some, but not all, the statutory victims before the initial February 1st, 2025 enterprise letter deadline, and two, took additional investigative steps in 2025, including some that post-dated the initial enterprise letter. The defense's April 2025 letter omits certain additional steps the government took after February 2025, which is understandable because the government, not the defense, has conducted its criminal investigation. For example, and then it blacks it all out. It gives secret information. And then it starts on the second page and blacks it all out. This is crazy, y'all. But read the second paragraph. It said, given those additional steps identified above and in the defense's letter, and especially given that, and it blacks it all out, that whole sentence, it said the government was, quote unquote, not prepared at that point in our ongoing investigation to say that we thought this evidence would be a part of our direct case in proving up the racketeering enterprise and the racketeering conspiracy. So they're saying that evidence, they had to make sure and confirm that there would be enough to prove their case against Diddy. And they did. That's what they're saying. April 2025, TR at 26, in assessing the evidence it was able to gather, the government notified Diddy's team, the defense, when it determined that the government would be prepared to prove that the conduct related to 4 of the non-statutory victims was direct evidence of the charged racketeering conspiracy. So they're saying right now, 4 of the direct victims that are not even being accused in the case, they have enough evidence to prove that Diddy did this to them too. And this will corroborate all the witnesses they have that are actually in the indictment that Diddy's being charged with. It says, it is no doubt true that in responding to the Diddy's motion to preclude evidence related to the non-statutory victims, the government thought carefully about these victims' experiences and how they would fit into the rest of the trial. But that's not gamemanship. Rather, it demonstrates that the government is not reflexively adding any allegations it hears about the defendant into racketeering conspiracy charge in count 1. Indeed, the government is aware of at least blank, 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 and after the defendant's arrest, blank, 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 but it is not automatically sought to include all those allegations in his criminal case. They got a whole slew of shit they ain't even put in this case. They exit out right there. Look at it, y'all. Read that line. It said, indeed, the government is aware. So the government's aware of more charges against this dude. They're aware of more allegations against him that they ain't even put in the case. Read it right there. It said, indeed, the government is aware of at least blank, 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 blank. And after Diddy's arrest, they were aware of more shit. It says blank, 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 blank. But it has not automatically sought to include all those allegations in his criminal case. Instead, the government moved as quickly as possible to conduct a thorough investigation and has only sought to offer admissible, credible evidence at this trial. It said the defendant's briefing on this issue cites no case precluding direct evidence of a racketeering conspiracy where the government provided notice of evidence more than a month before the trial. And it gives you all these examples. All the examples. It says, although he may quibble with the sufficiency, the defendant makes no argument, nor can he, that he received untimely notice of the evidence under Rules 413 and 404B. He cannot explain why its preparations to respond to this evidence would be any different if it were submitted as direct evidence opposed to under Rules 413 and 404B. There is no dispute that the government complied with its Rule 16 discovery obligations with respect to this evidence and that the defense had already received Section 3500 material for witnesses who would testify about these incidents. Accordingly, and it's the last page, for the reasons set forth above in the government's prior briefing, the court should permit the non-statutory victims to testify at trial. Diddy is in for it, bro. He's in for it, bro. If they admit these other victims as well, that victim right there is already going to be in the case. This is just unbelievable, man. Never seen anything like this case before, except for we have, but not to this extent. This is crazy, bro. This thing run deep, y'all. And y'all need to smash that like button, man. And Diddy's lawyers wrote that. And we can't even see what they wrote about that alleged victim, that minor. We can't even read what they wrote. We have to wait till court to hear all of that information about those alleged youngins. But don't get mad at me. Diddy's lawyer put that in the paperwork, not Ticket. This is the writing from Diddy's lawyers, writing about the victims. So, ladies and gentlemen, all these buffoons running around here saying, I don't really think the superseding indictment 3, I don't really see none of that. Are you dudes fools or what? The man's got 7 victims now. It started at 3, now it's at 7. The hell is wrong with you people? And he got victims that ain't even in the court, ain't even being charged with, that are going to bring evidence in the court along with their testimony to prove that these allegations are similar in truth. That's why Diddy's scrambling. He's up against it, bro. Salute to everybody supported this channel. Anybody that hit that Cash App, PayPal link, a few of y'all did. Shout out to Tony Garado. He sent a $100 donation to the Cash App, man. That Cash App link is pinned at the top. Salute to you, Tony. Anybody else want to support the channel? All y'all gotta do is hit the Cash App, PayPal link. It's pinned at the top, man. Show me love, nigga. And shout out to that brother, the Diddy Docket, man. I mean, bro, you talking about a beast? Dog, he a beat. Y'all better find out what's going on. This right here is going to make everybody ask, what were those allegations specifically? And we're going to find out in court when that trial starts, unless Diddy cops out at the last minute and takes a plea. We're going to find out what this stuff is all about. It's going to get ugly. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think, man. And click that link pinned at the top of the chat if you love how I break these busters down. I'm gone. Oh, and Diddy's innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Just wanted to throw that in there for shits and giggles. But it is what it is. It's the law. It's true. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Adios. Sayonara. Peace. All right, you guys. So we appreciate everybody that popped in, supported this video. Make sure that you guys shop our merch. We got that new A-Weapons merchandise right there below this video. All you got to do is look below. The links will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well to get the merch, to donate, support the channel, and subscribe to our podcast show. You'll see all those links pinned at the top of the comment section of this video And we appreciate everybody that supports this channel and our networks. Also, that straight drop weight loss formula. Go to the website. You guys will see that. A link for that will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well. Go right there for all of your weight loss needs. Straight drop weight loss formula. We have a lot of testimonials on the website. You can go to www.str-8-drop.com and get you some of the weight loss formula today. Take your weight loss serious. Get in the gym, work out, exercise, and do what you got to do to stay on point. We appreciate everybody that's been locked into this video. Again, all the links are pinned at the top of the comment section below. Salute to all of y'all. And again, we appreciate everybody who support what we doing over here.